Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to week 6 in my 12-week countdown to Christmas. This week I have a gorgeous shaker card for you. That's the inside. You'll find it on page 11 of the July to December 2021 mini. This time I'm going to be making the Christmas pudding one. To make this card you'll need the Sweets and Treats stamp set. I also used Christmas to Remember for the sentiment inside. You'll need the cloche dies. I'm only going to be using this one this time. The cloche domes, shaker domes, there are 10 in a pack. So let's take one out. I've cut a sheet of thick basic white cardstock in half and made 2 card sizes with it. On one of them I am going to glue a mint macaron matte layer, which you see here, onto the card. This pattern paper is from Whimsy and Wonder 12 by 12 inch specialty designer series paper, and I've cut this at 3 3/4 by 5.5. So let's glue that as well. You don't want to glue the center. Doesn't matter which way up it is, does it? I'll put it on this way. And you take the cloche die, put it on your cardstock where you want it. You need some scrap of mint macaron. The inks I'm using are Mossy Meadow, Tuxedo Black Memento ink, polished pink stamping blends, mint macaron and soft suede combos. So you need a scrap of mint macaron to fussy cut the stand and the sentiment, and a scrap of basic white so that you can cut the holly leaf from the top of the pudding here to decorate the inside of your card. Now there's method in the madness. I've deliberately done it on 2 cards because it's such a hassle to try and line up the cardstock. When you're making shaker cards you need 2 identical pieces, one for the front and one for the back. I'm going to put that round about there. Use a post-it note to anchor it down and run it through the machine. So don't run it through both pieces, only one side, like so, the card front, and I'll do that off camera. And that's the reason why you don't glue the middle, because want these pieces to come out. Okay, so now with the pencil I'm going to trace round the cloche and bring in my Stamparato. So I'm just using the matte layer here as a cushion. Ink up the cloche stamp, and I've drawn around and traced that aperture, and I want to make sure I stamp within that area. It's a bit hard to see because I've got the camera in the way and I don't want to get my head in the shot. Let's hope for the best. That's still visible, so that's alright. Allow it to dry and then rub the pencil marks off. Bring in my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Time to stamp the Christmas pudding. I'm going to stamp it down here. And I'll also stamp another one here, so I can colour it in and cut it out. Bring in the mint macaron cardstock, and I'm just going to stamp the stand on here. Oh, that didn't come out. I'll do it again. And also stamp the sentiment. That's smudged as well. I'm not having a good day, am I? That's better. So the next thing to do is to cut this. Bring in my mini trimmer and trim the sentiment down. Still too wide. I want to trim this designer series paper too, so that was 3/4 of an inch by 4 inches. We'll set those aside and come back to it in a minute. In the meantime, I want to colour the holly, rub off the pencil marks and colour that in mint macaron. Then colour the berries in polished pink. And then you want to fussy cut around the holly as well. Then I'm going to colour the pudding in soft suede and the leaves and the berries in polished pink mint macaron. I'll do that sitting down because my back's hurting. So I'll be back. These domes have got 2 double-sided sticky tape, one on the top and one on the bottom. So I'm going to take the top layer off. Do it to here. Make sure that's tight. Next, grab the sequins. These are the settled sequins. I'm going to sprinkle some on the inside to put a fairly generous amount in. And I'm also going to put 1 or 2 dollops of glue there. Don't want a shiny one up here. Fix a sequin there so there's some that will not go down to the bottom. Pick another one up. Now I'm going to remove the second bit of tear and tape on the cloche and get some glue and glue this down and then close this on top. Next I'm going to apply some adhesive onto the cake stand. And adhere that down here. Just cut the paper at an angle and adhere that. This is just the reverse of the other bit of Whimsy and Wonder designer series paper, so that it grounds the cake stand, gives it somewhere to sit on so it doesn't look as though it's hanging up in the air. Curl that glue to the cardstock. Put a mini dimensional up on the other end to pop it up. If I can get it to stop sticking to my fingers. There we go. I'll take the other basic white thick cardstock and stamp the sentiment in mint macaron. Then bit of adhesive, and that's the reason I did this on a scrap of paper, because with alcohol markers it bleeds through and it will show on your cardstock. So pop that there. That's the inside of the card done. And now we need to do a bit of trimming. So that's the secret of a successful shaker card. If you make it as another card, it makes it so much easier to assemble. I think in fact it's easier to cut it with a pair of scissors. So I'm going to do that. Then take your proper card and there's your shaker card. That's the inside. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. This is obviously a card that you have to hand deliver. No way would I send that in the post because it's quite bulky. Join me again next week for episode 7. All the supplies is listed below this video in the Show More section. You can also find me on Facebook, Pinterest or Instagram. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll be back soon. Bye.